Argylle is the brand new Matthew Vaughn film that just hit theaters this past Friday. As I said, the film is directed by Matthew Vaughn, the director of Kick-Ass, X-Men: The First Class, and the Kingsman franchise. This is his first film outside of the Kingsman franchise since those Kick-Ass X-Men: The First Class days. This film stars Bryce Dallas Howard as Ellie Conway, a famous novel writer who writes kind of spy-based novels, but she realizes that she's actually writing true events that are going on at the moment. And then she runs into a spy played by Sam Rockwell, who tries to save her from an evil organization that is being run by Bryan Cranston. Also in the movie, you have Catherine O'Hara as Conway's mom in the movie. Samuel L. Jackson is also in the film, and I don't specify who he's playing in the movie. And then the book version of the characters that Conway is writing are played by Agent Argylle in the books is played by Henry Cavill. And you also have his team played by John Cena, Ariana DeBose, and also Dua Lipa. The film is nearly 2 hours and 10 minutes and is PG-13. Welcome back to a brand new movie review here on Max Talks Movies. I'm talking about Argylle. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe, ring the bell. I talk movies, TV shows, rankings, box office, and I do out of theater reactions. So please subscribe, ring the bell. If you're new to the channel, comment down below. What did you think of Argylle? Was it a disappointment? Was it a pleasant surprise? Where does this rank for you in Matthew Vaughn's directorial filmography? Love to know your thoughts. And also please like the video, guys, the thumbs up button. That's how you support this channel. So I did see this movie on Friday. I did my out of theater reaction, which I'm happy a lot of you guys tuned in for, which I really appreciate. But I didn't have time either that day or even Saturday to film a review for it due to family things. So I am back now in the chair on Sunday, finally talking Argylle with you. I still have the same thoughts after really thinking about the movie. And let's get my general thoughts on Argylle, my review of the movie. So overall, this is for me one of the more disappointing movies that I have seen in a while. I was pumped for this movie. I love Matthew Vaughn. He's one of my favorite filmmakers working today. I love Kick-Ass. I adore X-Men: The First Class and Kingsman 1. While Golden Circle and The King's Man were kind of okay at best, I was still hoping finally another original idea from Vaughn with this really, as I said, all-star cast that you can see behind me. Just a stellar cast, and the trailers really got me. So I was excited, but overall, I just didn't enjoy myself. I was someone who, walking into the movie, wanted to have a lot of fun with this film, but I just didn't. It was not an enjoyable movie for me. And now the positives is I think the chemistry between Bryce Dallas Howard and Sam Rockwell is the best part of the movie. They have great chemistry together. And Rockwell especially is easily the most entertaining part of the main story that is going on. Rockwell does a great job. But and I do want to preface, as you probably heard a billion times already, Henry Cavill is not the lead of this movie. They keep putting him in the star of the marketing. And you can see in this poster, he's front and center, and Rockwell and Dallas Howard are in the back. Cavill is like barely in this movie. The opening of the movie is easily the best part of the film, and it is a Cavill chase scene, and Cavill delivers in the movie. But from that point on, he's barely in the film, and I think that was a big mistake. If you're going to cast Henry Cavill in this type of role, you either want him to be the focus of the movie, or at least in it more, or even more consequential than what the movie puts him in the film for. But as I said, Dallas Howard and Rockwell have great chemistry together. Overall, the cast is very watchable in this movie, but most of them are shockingly just wasted, which I'll get to in a second. The film is also very well made, has a really fun score, scored by Lord Balfe, who's one of the new really good composers, especially for Mission Impossible over the last couple of years. The film definitely has that Matthew Vaughn aesthetic, and I really enjoyed that aesthetic, the way he shoots movies, the way this feels very similar to Kingsman, even though it's not quite Kingsman. But to stop sugarcoating it, as I said, the story is just all over the place. And the movie wants to tell this grand story that has, I swear to God, like 10 to 15 plot twists. And it's too many. I like twists and turns in movies, but this film has an absurd amount of, you think this is what it is? It's this. If this is what it is? It's this. And they keep doing that especially in the second half of the movie. It feels like every scene is about a new thing you're learning about, which is a twist. And you're not excited about them. It makes the movie a lot dumber. And stupid, and the movie just becomes confusing and lost in the third act of the movie. I would say the first two acts are okay. The first act I enjoy, I had a good time with. The second act, not great, but good time with. Second act was like mediocre, and I think the last back half of this movie is just bad. Um, some of these actors are just blatantly wasted. Bryan Cranston has a fun time playing this villain role. He's fine. Catherine O'Hara has an accent in this movie that I'm not a big fan of. But let's talk about who's wasted. In the book version of what the book that Conway is writing, we have a team of Henry Cavill, John Cena, and Ariana DeBose, and they all three are so misused and wasted in this movie. There honestly could have been a movie with just the three of them in this kind of Bond-like Matthew Vaughn type movie, a combination of Matthew Vaughn's Kingsman stuff with Cavill being kind of like a Bond figure in a Matthew Vaughn movie. That's a lot of fun, especially when you have John Cena, a very funny comedic side relief, and a fantastic actress who can do both comedy and serious with Ariana DeBose. But the movie botches any chemistry between the three actors and any screen time for any of them in the movie. You just feel like a waste of time for a lot of these actors. Samuel Jackson is also just doing nothing in this movie as well. And the problem is the movie has so many of these actors in it, it feels like they just have to throw them all in the movie. I think the movie could have been a little bit restrictive, meaning the ensemble for me at times is too huge for this story. The movie needs to do all of these different plot points, and everyone has literally all these characters have twists and turns in the movie. And at some point, it just gets a bit annoying and uninteresting, then exciting and thrilling and shocking. And then you get to the third act action, and it is a cartoon. It is worse than a cartoon at times because it's cheap cheap CGI. I like the over-the-top CGI that Vaughn used in the Kingsman films, but for me, it just did not work. There are even some shots where characters are sitting maybe outside of a room, and you see a back line of a whole city, and it just looks like half the movie is on a full-on green screen. Don't know if that's what the case was, but it looked like a lot of shots were blatantly obvious they were on green screen, and other ones were just not shot well. And that also just pulls you out of the movie. There was an interesting concept here about someone writing a novel, it coming true. People want to know why this is happening and things like that. But the movie writes itself into so many corners by having so many twists and turns, so many reveals, that I don't think any of them are that interesting. And then the movie wants to become a cinematic universe. And I think the way they did it could be interesting if this was actually a better movie. So I think In Here was a special movie, especially if they just did a Henry Cavill teaming up with John Cena, Ariana DeBose movie with Dua Lipa in it, movie with Matthew Vaughn directing, kind of a spy film, Bondish film with Cavill in front and center. But he is not front and center. And the surroundingness of what is going on for me just isn't that interesting. So overall, I am massively disappointed by Argylle. And overall, I'm going to give it a 2 out of 5 stars. I've sadly got to go 38%. I'm sorry, I'll go 40% for Argylle. It's not the worst movie of the year, but I was just expecting so much more from this movie, and I just didn't get that. So that's my thoughts on Argylle. What are your thoughts? Let me know in the comment section, and I will see you soon.